Hello, I'm Sandy Anastasi, Psychic Channel, Intuitive Astrologer, and Soul Coach, and I'm here to give you my Psychic Protection Tip for March of 2015. This is Psychic Development Tip number 22. Folks, where do you look? When I used to teach elementary school, I could always tell which students in my classes came from emotionally and psychically abusive households. Those children were always the students who refused to make eye contact with me. And they did everything that they could to avoid that eye contact. The authority in the classroom was me. So they were avoiding me just as they avoided their parents at home. They'd look down, they'd look up, they'd look off to the side. They did everything except turning their back on me, practically, in order to not make direct eye contact. Well, why did they do that? I asked myself, and I investigated, and I experimented, and I read. And what I found is that these students were instinctively doing exactly what they needed to do to protect themselves. You see, they knew intuitively that the psychic energy flows from and through the eyes, especially projecting from the right eye, which is your sending eye. In fact, experience had taught them that by averting their gaze from the person who was trying to pin them with their gaze, they prevented that energy connection that made them feel bad. Simple. So, I knew immediately what was going on because, you see, I experienced the same thing in my own childhood. My mom was a phenomenal, absolutely undeclared, psychic, projective empath. That means she was able to project her feelings on me very easily. You see, I'm a receptive empath, like so many of you. My mom was the projective side of that. She was very, very good at projecting her emotions, any emotions. And she primarily used her eyes to do it. That was her primary way of focusing. She would pour her energy out through her right eye, that is her sending eye, and she'd look with intensity directly into my left receiving eye. I was not allowed to look away. If I tried, she'd say, "You look at me." You see, without even saying or doing anything, she could make me feel as if I had just sustained the worst beating of my life. Just with that projection of attack-based energy from her right eye, her right, to my left. That's how she did it. Well, like those children in my classes, I had learned to look away. My vision even deteriorated so that by the time I was in junior high, I was wearing glasses with bottle lenses. I didn't have to worry about that eye thing anymore because no one could even see my eyes. I hid. Later in life, I discovered I didn't have to do that anymore. Here are some pointers I learned that I'd like to share with you. First, all of this will once and for all put an end to eye-based psychic attacks in your life. First, find out if you are left eye dominant, like me, or if you're right eye dominant. It's more common to be right eye dominant. Most people who are left eye dominant are very powerful, receptive empaths, like me. The left eye dominance means not only that you're a receptive empath, but that you tend to take on the emotions of other people very, very powerfully. Right eye dominance is meaning that you're a generative empath. Not necessarily someone who generates psychic attacks, but somebody who generates good energy, lots of strong energy towards other people. That's a good thing, as long as it's not attack-based. Just pay attention to which eye that you feel like you're primarily looking out of. Or turn your head left and right while looking straight ahead to see which eye you're most comfortable looking out of. Another way to do this is to put a telescope to your eye. Which one do you automatically look through? Which one's more comfortable? Second, if you are right eye dominant, you are more likely to be the psychic projector and attacker when you're angry. Please be aware of that. Be aware of your effect on other people. You might very well be the person everybody runs to when you're in a good mood and runs away from when you're in a bad mood, and now you know why. If you're left eye dominant, you're the empathic receiver, and you are at the mercy of all of those good projectors in your world, like my mom. The rest of this article is for you, you empathic receivers. Here's the first thing that you need to remember. Your left eye needs to be protected and never connected to the right eye of the other person, unless they're your lover or it's somebody who you love and they're in a loving mood. So what does that mean? When you're having a conversation with somebody, be conscious of which eye you are looking out of. And if you find yourself looking out of your left eye, maybe you're really wanting to understand and hear them, so you're consciously looking at their face from your left eye. Make sure if you're doing that, that your eye is either looking at their left eye, at the ceiling, at the point between their eyes, down, any place but at their right eye. We tend to look with our left eye at somebody's right eye when we really want to get everything they have to give to us. But unless we really love that person and know them to be honest and caring and of goodwill, we really don't want to allow that connection. Okay? So your first thing for you to remember, you receptive empaths out there, you left eye dominant people, is that you need to keep that left eye protected, and you protect it by looking any place but at the person you're talking to's right eye. Okay? Now, that means that when I'm dealing with a right eye dominant person, when I'm doing that, I will immediately note that because I'll start to feel uncomfortable. I will suddenly start feeling as if that person gets excited about our conversation, I have to run away. Now, when that happens, I'll actually turn my head slightly so that my left eye isn't easily visible. Or I consciously bring my own gaze to a point above their heads. Or, as I said, their forehead. Or I look with both of my eyes at their brow or between their eyes. I do not make eye contact from my left eye to their right eye ever. Remember that. Do not look with your left to their right. Now, if I want to be in charge of the conversation, I reverse the energy flow. I consciously gaze from my own right eye and I look at their left eye. And that changes the whole flow of the conversation. It will put me in charge if they choose to continue the conversation. If they don't, which often happens, they'll terminate the conversation and walk away. If they were busy trying to dominate me in some way, that domination will immediately end. When you do this, you're going to be amazed. You would-be psychic attackers will run away from you. In normal conversation, I still consciously project my energy from my right eye, but I direct my energy to their forehead or even above their head. I don't seek to dominate anyone by focusing on their left eye. It took me considerable practice to be able to do that. It's not easy for me to focus my gaze out of my right eye because I'm not a right eye dominant person. I was able to change that through practice and work, and you will be too. I was so much more comfortable looking out of the left eye, but I did it. These days, when I allow my left eye to be dominant, it's because I am looking at something or someone I fully want to absorb, and it is a fully conscious act. Of course, this really altered my relationship with my mom too. I no longer had to be dominated by her will. I no longer had to feel attacked by her emotions, merely by her gaze. And if she wanted anything from me, she had to talk to me. We actually developed a very healthy relationship and were great communicators with one another. How nice was that? I'm Sandy Anastasi. Visit me on my website. I'm at www.sandyanastasi.com. You can also get a lot of the things that I teach on my website. They're available on video, on audio, on MP3, MP4. I've also written quite a few books. Take the time to browse around and see what's there. SandyAnastasi.com. And also visit my author page on Amazon.com. I'm so looking forward to seeing you at one of my live seminars sometime. Thanks. I appreciate your stopping by.